Hello. I did tell Elizabeth I would try to throw a couple jokes in mine, but what I think is super funny is having a clinically anxious person perform, which is like undoubtedly the most anxious inducing thing you can do. But here goes nothing. My story is pretty common. It starts like most. I got nervous in high school. I would get worried about a lot of things. I'd get worried about regular things like an upcoming test or keeping up with the latest trends, which I was never really good at. Like, someone please explain to me why Crocs are coming back into fashion. I couldn't tell you. But I would also get worried about small things, and I usually couldn't figure out why they made me so anxious. Just like going to work every week or trying to pick out an outfit before school seemed impossible. Like, even in high school, I couldn't pick out an outfit, and back then you could wear anything as long as it was neon. Spoiler alert, I had anxiety and depression, but I didn't know that in 10th grade. The only thing I knew for certain back then was the Pythagorean theorem, which I definitely use every day in my real life right now. I realized I had anxiety when a really good friend of mine pulled me aside in the hallway at school and said, "Allie, I have to tell you something. It's kind of personal." She was clearly very nervous, so in my head I was like, "Oh wow, she's about to tell me something really big. I really hope she's not going to pull me aside and try to recruit me to sell makeup online." That would have been tough for me because I'm very anti-pyramid scheme, but very pro-local business. Thankfully, she was not with Avon. She told me, "Allie, I've been going to therapy for a while now, and it's great. My therapist helps me work through all of my emotions, but the reason I want to talk to you is because I've noticed a lot of the symptoms I have in you. And I just want to let you know that if you need anything, I'm here for you." That was undoubtedly difficult for her to share, but I'm so glad she did because it changed my life. I re-examined myself, I re-examined what I needed, and within the next few months, I started going to therapy and I started taking antidepressant medications. It was like my own personal eat, pray, love. Eventually, things started looking and feeling a lot better. There were ups and downs throughout high school. It was like a roller coaster. Actually, it was a lot like a roller coaster because there was that one time when I threw up after a cross-country race. My opinion is running is bad for you. Changed my mind. But after high school, I was really excited to move away from home when I started college. It was this great new chapter in my life, and I thought it would be a great idea to start this new chapter and change things even more drastically by not continuing therapy, which in hindsight does not make sense. But my rationale was I would be too far away from home to commute to my therapist, and finding someone new on campus just felt like a chore. And the last thing a freshman college student wants to do is a chore. So September went well my freshman year, but by October, inevitably, I was struggling. And I couldn't figure out why. I would have bad days for no reasons at all. I remember one day in particular, it was beautifully sunny outside. It was ahead of the Charles Regatta, which is like some boat sport thing. I don't really even know land sports, so could not tell you much more than that. But the main attraction, at least for me, was this line of vendor tents along the river. They were giving out all sorts of like merchandise and free food samples. It's like grocery shopping on a college budget. Love that. I was walking around and even tried one of those like LaCroix fizzy water things, and I was like, "I'm so fancy with my free LaCroix." It was great. It was a great day. Once things wound down, I started walking back to my dorm, which was only about a half mile away. But sometime during that walk, I just started crying and could not figure out why. Was I sad? Was I angry? Did I just need a Snickers bar? In hindsight, it's easy for me to see that I had depression and was just not getting the same level of help that got me through high school. But I didn't realize it in that moment. On that day, sitting on that sidewalk, I was just there crying, thinking, "Wow, like I must be allergic to LaCroix or something." That was all I could think of. But within a few weeks, I realized that I needed to get back into therapy, so I went to the mental health center on campus. And given the limited resources and high demand of their office, they were able to make me feel better and set me on the right track. Now, some of my closest friends have been with me since before I started my journey with anxiety and depression, so they see me at my lowest points. And that really demonstrates how my friends are great people. If you're going to be friends with someone who bursts out crying on a sunny day just because there's like big boats in the water, you have to be a great human being. I really owe my friends, I don't know, like a pizza or something. My friends tell me that the person I am today is completely different than the person I was a year ago. Maybe because I've somehow only gotten worse at words with friends, but maybe it's because I seem to enjoy life a lot better. And I make life more enjoyable for the people around me, which is incredibly rewarding. Today, seeing the abundance of students on campuses that take advantage of resources provided by the Mental Health Center makes me happy that people are addressing the issue of mental health and they're willing to talk about it. It's so common to be in therapy now. It's like the book club of my generation. My grandmothers, they're both off at Bridge Club. Moms are all at book club, sipping wine, reading the latest 50 Shades of Grey. And then millennials are literally all in therapy. It's awesome. I become a mental health advocate in my peer group on campus and at home. I love being the person that someone can turn to when they have a question about anxiety or depression, or they just need someone to vent and listen. Now I'm the friend that's giving advice about anxiety, which is way better than the friend selling makeup on Facebook.